Pleasant good morning, pleasant good Wednesday morning to one and all. Welcome, you students, to this midweek episode of Speaking Out Exposing Corruption Incompetence. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, Today is Wednesday, the 30th day of July, 2025. Welcome, one and all. Hope you had a restful night. Hope you're looking forward to a productive week, day and week. So welcome one and all, welcome. Always good to see these many students in the classroom, in the schoolyard, so very, very early. I said that motivates us to come and to make sure we do the research and to bring you the credible, valuable information. And as we said, this is an election year. Election season, we're into the silly season, just about a month and so to go before that day, 1st of September, 2025, when Guyanese are supposed to go to the polls to exercise their franchise to choose a government. And all sorts of propaganda coming out at this time. So we tell you, come to this channel, come to this program. We're going to dissect a lot of this nonsense that they're talking about. And you being reasonable, intelligent people, you're going to be able to come to your own conclusion. So we're going to deal with many issues this morning. As I've said, another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. It is a privilege to be in the land of the living. And it's a privilege for us to come here, my colleague CC, who's already in the studio, and I to come and to bring you the credible, valuable information. So much nonsense going around. So much nonsense. And some of the things are demonstrably false. You can just go and look. They're telling a whole pack of lies, but they are accustomed to telling lies. It's in the DNA, so they can't help themselves. They're going to hear more lies tomorrow when Tanti Moore lift up your drawers or pull down your drawers, lift up your skirt, pull down your drawers, and tell you all kind of nonsenseness, as Nylan used to say. So yes, here we are. Program scheduled at 7 this morning, or as we said, the school gates were open at 7 o'clock this morning, and there was a flood of students to get into the yard to do whatever students do before school call in, as we would normally say. Yeah, dozens and dozens, hundreds rather. I look at it, hundreds of people waiting to get credible, valuable information. We have a lot to tell you this morning. I want to start off by maybe again thanking all of you for extending birthday greetings up to this morning. I continue to get belated birthday greetings. Thank you very, very much. As I indicated earlier, my colleague is already in the studio. He's waiting. He's anxious to us to get the ball rolling. So what we're going to do, as is customary, we're going to fly through the roll call, make some announcements, and then we're going to get right onto it. In the meanwhile, share the live, and let them know that we are on. By now, it's routine. 11 o'clock on Monday, 11 o'clock on Wednesday, and 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. We come here to bring you credible, valuable information. But some people tend to forget. And one of the things I should mention too, it is always refreshing to see almost on every program, we have what we consider new students, either new in terms of commenting or new in terms of looking at the program live for the first time. Many people would comment that they are looking at it live for the first time. Because when you look at it live, it's different. You get an opportunity to comment and to interact with what's going on. I have admitted, and I admit again, many comments are posted, and sometimes I don't want to be distracted by reading the comments. But when CC's on, I get a break. I try to run the comments, and then at the end of the program, I would run the comments to see what was said, and if anything is to be noted, to be discussed on the next program. Also, if there are any inappropriate comments, I would look at it and get rid of the comment. Because on one occasion, I think the ERC, the Ethnic Relation Commission, did write me to tell me about some comment, what they feel was inappropriate, some racially inappropriate comment that was made, and I took it down. Right? So I check as often as I can, not every time, but I check just to make sure that we don't have inappropriate comments. We want to keep it clean. We are not that program. You get one of them, let's call it boredness and so on, cussing out And you know, they cuss out on the social media. Nobody, well, even when they're reported, they're not taken down. And if you come and you say anything that they believe is offensive, cyber charge in your backside, cyber charge. But they can go on and they can say that is the inequality in the society called Guyana in which we live. That is the inequality. Look at all the charges. Do the survey. All the charges for cybercrime, all are against a certain set of people. Every single one are against a certain set of people. And not because reports are not being made against the others yet. I made a report on October the 15th, 2021 against Nandalal. I made a report at the Breakdown Police Station. The Attorney General Namalal got up on social media on the 29th of June, right? He called me Bajan. He said people like me have no place in society governed by the rule of law, which I saw as a threat, as a direct threat. And I went and I made a report. I gave them a transcript of the offending statement. I was in company with Mr. Conway and Selwyn Peters, who was my lawyer there at the time. And nothing had happened. Nothing had happened. Right? So let me do the roll call, you know, something you got to remind y'all about these things, you know, because we say election coming up and they would want to tell you that they're so clean, they're so lean, they're upright citizens. Criminals, many of them are criminals. And when I say criminals, they're committing crimes, but the system is covering them. Look at all the corruption in almost all the ministries. Corruption. I'm going to bring back that thing again. I'm going to look for it, have it somewhere to tell you all about all the corruption in the ministries involving the cleaning and detailing of motor vehicles. Because I know we have a lot of new students who might not have heard about it. I'll bring it back, promise you, soon. I'm going to do the research and pull it up again. Well, let me run the roll call. 7 o'clock, school gate open. Ulrich from West Dem, man. When you retire, you know, Ulrich, and you're a geriatric, you get time, you can make sure that you jump in the schoolyard. Tessa, I mean, I know you retired, but I would not say the same thing about you, my dear. Tessa is here. They all came in at 7. John, Peter, Gibbo, in the same category. Ezzy, Jakey, Claudius, Felicia, Orin, Aubrey from Canada, Carl. Then we have Wayne, Selwyn, Joan, Clifton all the way from Paris, Lyndon, Vibert, and this is Vibert Larson, 9066. Carlton, my squad mate, well, all of them came in at 7. And then 701, a whole set of students came in shortly after, including Carlton, Siobhan, Jacko, Wayne, Clifton, Pastor Smith, Dexter, Raul, Siobhan, Carol, Pauline, Sandra, Desiree from Georgia, Marcia, Sean from upstate, Aubrey, Sydney, Brian, Courtney, the Sauls are here, Brian Saul, Courtney Saul, Barbara, Anthony, Peter Saul, and the East Bank of Demerara, Trati, Kevin, Clarence, Cecile, then we have Puran, then the Angel is here as usual, Dolan, Paulette, Emerson, then after Emerson, let me see, who is it here now? Compton, Ashley, Isla, Francis Keith from Melanie Damashana. Then we have Deborah, Evangelina, Ivor, Gordon. Then after Gordon, who came in? Lynette from Canada. Sorry, Lynette from the UK. Oh, get Canada in my mind. Lynette from the UK. Cedric, Danny, 8219. Rhonda, Derek, Diane, Brenda, Paul, the Conor Marukman is here. Anne, Marva, Malcolm, Janella, Arel, Aileen, Alwyn. Aileen, I hope you get over the cricket shock, my dear. Marcus, Melinda, Vibert from East Bank of Demerara, Bonita, Denise, the secretary, Kerry from Maryland. Then we have Pauline, Michael, Isabella, Jermaine, Connolly, Lucius, Ian, Cranston, Umi, Leon, Moses, Pito, 8152, Joseph, Forgus, Denise from Florida, Margot, Kurt, Mike, Winslow, and then who that? Marlon, Morton, Christy Jack, Earl, Father Masha, Rayburn, Terrence Young from Canada, 9795. Mary, Melbourne, Bernadette, Neola, Magnell, Wayne from the UK, Hazel, Claire, Vashti, Dion, Danny is here, Benji from Myconi, Princess, Oil is here, Lester, Patrick Rodney, UK is in the house, Anthony, Rosalind, Kay, Selwyn, Henrik, Abera. Smith is here, 7464, Vibord Smith. Then we have Edward, Doreen, Floyd, Roderick, Raquel, Annette, Dion, Trevor, Carl from Arizona, my squad mate, 9414 Hartman, sir. Maureen, Annette, Dionarine, Amanda, Lorraine. Then after Lorraine is Marcus, Patricia, David, Rastaman, Pamela, where's them in the house? Rhonda, then I'm still in the house. Then Lyndon, Mark, Leslyn, another Mark, this is Mark Griffith now. Gail from Georgia. Gail is from Florida, sorry. Nigel, Wayne, Malcolm, 9218 is in the house, and he's wishing me belated birthday greetings. Thank you, my brother. Clive from the UK. Terence, Lennox, Hope is here. Colin, Pastor Ari is with us. Boo, Claude, Cecile, who recently had a birthday. Cecile is here. Sian, George, Patricia, and then Patricia Artley, Patricia Gravesandi, Ainsworth, the man K, you're here back in there after a spell. Sheena, Orin from the UK. Then it was Colin, Allison, Roxanne, then Sean, Heather, Vaughn, Osbert, Lennox, Dwayne, Ulrich, 9555, Stevens, Jean is here, Queenie, Melville, Tallulah, Alex, Neville, E2 had a birthday recently, John Fraser, my friend, Lorraine, Rena, then it was Chilo is in the house, Joseph, Michelle, Barbara, Doris, welcome, Elton, Sabrina, Wilbert, Uncle Paul, Carville, that's another squad mate of mine, Reggie, Karen, Michael Brower is here from the British Virgin Islands, Ralph, Dorette, Robert, Angela, O'Neill, then it was George, Pauline, then Tessa, then after Tessa, Bray, Siobhan, Dylan, Conrad, Marilyn, then it was Leroy, Nicola, Ronald, L. Ben, then it was Darlene. I think Darlene was the last person in the schoolyard. Then when we went live, we get when the doors were open, Edward is here with us, Carlton Popo, they're always 1-2, they exchange sometimes, Joyce. Then we have Rosie Rose, and then you have Denise, Joan, Trifosa, Sister Trifosa is here, and Denise came back. So welcome, one and all. Welcome. Lots of you in today, and we're not going to disappoint you. We have so much to talk about that I'm sure you are not. We have not disappointed you. The fact that we have this number of students this early, we're up to over 1,000 students already. We're not going to disappoint you. So throwback, share the live, continue to share the live. Continue to share the live. Let me tell you about the announcements. We missed well, first of all, today is the 500th day since the Sergeant Alex Vaughn was shot and killed. He was shot and killed on March the 12th, 2024. Police Sergeant Alex Vaughn while on duty, and nothing. Initial report say he was shot accidentally by one of his colleagues, and I disputed that there and then because when the postmortem examination was done, it was said that he received 3 gunshot wounds. And I said that if you get 3 gunshot wounds, unless it was an automatic firearm, it could not have been accidental. If it's a pistol, a revolver, semi-automatic, could not be accidental, because if it was any one of those, you have to squeeze the trigger on 3 separate occasions to get 3 shots fired. And if it was an automatic firearm, well, yes, one burst can cause 3 shots or more to be discharged. So, but they haven't told us anything, and they're the ones who talk about transparency, Transparency, they said, oh, they're transparent. Are we going to deal with that? Because I saw a statement on this program that they have from Deputy Commissioner Budram. A lot of things, a lot of forward speech, but I'm going to dissect that too. I'm going to dissect it. And let me tell you all this. When we do these dissections, it is not to embarrass anyone. It's not that you're attacking anyone, or you're bringing the truth to the listening public and the members of the force. Because when they come with these flowery things, the records or the actions do not support what they're coming to tell you about all what they're doing to reform the force. Or reform a force. You can reform force with all them enough criminals in senior positions. How are you going to reform the force with them criminals there? We're going to deal with that a little later. Well, then, so that was one. And then we missed the death announcement of a retired Assistant Superintendent Salim. I think his first name was Rashid Salim, Essequibo Coastman. His regulation number was 7459. Ian Smithy, our Paul, who died recently, was his squad mate as well. So he died, and I think he was buried a few days ago. He was on the Essequibo Coast. I remember him because he had retired. And when they started the Richard Feikel Police College on the Essequibo, Regina, I think it was, he was recruited. He came back to be the head of that college at some stage. So he passed and was buried outside. And somehow I got the notification, or I got the message some time ago. But as I told you, I be hustling and bustling on Friday. I missed it. Then we told you too about the death of Assistant Commissioner Raphael Rose. I guess by now the postmortem would have been completed, so they would have known the cause of death. And I continue to say that is a case study. That should be a case study. Your time comes for you to go off on leave. Go on leave. Rose celebrated his 55th birthday. At least he observed his 55th birthday on the 11th of July this year. And therefore, at this time, he should have been on pre-retirement leave. He should have retired from the 1st of August 2025. That's the public service rules. But he was kept on, or he's asked to stay on, and what, died on duty. Check-in suddenly, strong. They said up to hours before, the man was strong and healthy. He's commander of the Letem Region 9. He came to Tongue, traveled to Tongue. And then, they had this police sports over I think it ended on Friday. The most low-key police sports that I ever know of. Low-key. Barely hear anything about it. I know they want to say perhaps the death of Rose dampen the whole atmosphere and so on. Came down and was expected to traveling back Sunday or Monday. He was then ordered, I understand, to go back immediately because the president was expected to go in some part of that region. So again, it's more stress. So the man had to hurry and go in, drive. And on his way, he took in. And in a flash, I understand, the man was no more. The man was no more. Some people told us that he came down for the squatter birthday. The squatter birthday was on the 22nd. I know the tradition they get, according to the man that just bring gift, and they do all sort of thing, they get drink. So he came down, no doubt, maybe for the squatter birthday and for the police board. Come and said, no, you got to go back in. President is going there. And I made the point on the last program, made the point that if you have a second in command of a division and he's not capable of holding on for a day or two or even a little longer period as the commander, he should not be there. He should not be a second in command. You get the commanders out and the president going to the division. You want to tell me the commander is so incompetent that he can hold for a few hours or a day or two until the commander returns? You have got to order the commander to go back into the division because the president is going there? I can't understand. The system is broken. The system is broken. I told you, years ago, I went to West Demerara, the division as it was then, transferred as superintendent from TSU to go there. Bombay was the post in charge. And when Bombay left to go and leave, I used to carry on. I was transferred to A Division under Green Assistant Commissioner. I was Senior Superintendent. I was the 2IC. When Green went on leave and all, I used to carry on. I as a second in command. So I don't know what is going on in the force now. People are not going on leave, one, and therefore the people below them are not getting the opportunity to act. Because going on leave has the dual purpose of the person who is on leave get an opportunity to relax, rejuvenate, and come again. And it provides an opportunity for the person below them to step up and to act for the period, to get some training, to get some exposure. But that ain't happening now. That ain't happening now. So I'm waiting to hear the cause of Rose death. And you know, speculations are rife as to what. Because the man died suddenly. The man came down for this function and the man died suddenly. So once in this atmosphere, in this toxic atmosphere of the police force, a man dies, suddenly you're going to get all types of speculation. And people don't have any faith and trust in the system. So even when an official report comes out, people are going to question the veracity of the report, which is sad. Which is sad. So again, I want to say condolences to those persons who have, your relatives and friends of those persons who have died. Yes, Sydney, I saw that too, where it has been reported this morning that a GDF officer who was on leave, the plane in which he was traveling, some small plane, I think from Miami to the Turks and Caicos Island, crashed. The other person died, and they say he's critical. I saw a video circulating where he was being taken off, brought off from the wreckage, from the crash site, and put on an ambulance. And again, we got to pray that he makes it. And the GDF, I think, gave a statement. They were quick to point out that he was on vacation leave and all of that. And but the point is, we can't expect anything concrete or anything detailed from the GDF. You can remember those persons were killed in the helicopter crash in 2023. It was 2023 December now, and this is July 2025, and up to now you can't get a report as to what actually took place in that crash. Where senior officers, brigadier general and colonel, killed in a crash. Killed 2 survivors. There were 2 survivors, and we still can't hear what happened. No report. And again, they talk about transparency, and because of the lack of transparency, rumors will run rife with people in the absence of some credible explanation from GDF. People can speculate, especially in this case with the helicopter crash, where there are survivors who must have been able to say what transpired, including the co-pilot. It's not no ordinary survivors. You have a co-pilot. And I continue to ask the question, if it is that, as they're saying, what we know, the pilot, Mike Charles, and the brigadier general, right? They were burnt beyond recognition, they claim. How come the co-pilot escaped virtually unscathed? How come? How come? Come on, he could not have been in the co-pilot seat at the time of the accident. That is logical, common sense. You got to be from the big set of investigators, National Transportation Safety Board, to come to that conclusion. If the man, let me understand, they're saying the pilot burnt beyond recognition, Mike Charles. If the co-pilot had been in the seat next to the pilot, as he was expected to be, how come he escaped unscathed, almost unscathed? How come? Tell us that. But that is the thing you have. So again, I am wishing this GDF officers a speedy recovery. I think Dwight Bonus is his name, and they say he's critically injured in the plane crash off the Turks and the Caicos Island. Now for the border greetings, let me tell you, well, Emancipation Day is on Friday. Emancipation Day in Guyana and I guess other countries. Slavery was abolished on the 1st of August, 1838. That's Friday. 1st of August, 1838. We're going to talk a lot about it, perhaps not today, but on Friday. Because we're going to have a program on Friday, God's willing. We're going to talk about emancipation and what it meant. 1838, the 1st of August. What have we achieved in all these years? And when you look at the records, the slavery was abolished in 1838 in Guyana and other parts of the Caribbean. They had to fight a civil war in the U.S. for slavery to be abolished. They had to fight a civil war, and thousands of persons died. And yet still people are taking this freedom that we got for granted. People are taking, and we have been re-enslaved again in a different form. A little contract here, a little contract there. It's back to slavery. You get a Portuguese man, and you have to forgive me, I want to think, Jerry Gavaya inspecting police, and people stand up over you with an umbrella. A black person stand over you with an umbrella. You get the likes of James Bond and all them coming, talking a lot of crap. People like Mark Phillips and all them. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to deal with it, right? Now, let me move on to tell you something about the board days. We have board day greetings today. A very good friend of mine, Andre Kelman. I think he's the assistant or deputy manager of the Chedijagan International Airport. We always remember Andre, we were close in terms of board day. You know, and we missed one not so long ago, Archer. Kevin, I think his name, the police officer at immigration. He had a board day the same day like me, man, on the 27th of July, Sunday. And somehow we missed that. Then today, board day 2 is retired. I can't remember what rank he retired at. Lincoln Andrews. I remember Lincoln came to the TSU. I was there. I think it was an inspector. And he used to work with me. We dealing with disciplinary matters and small. Lincoln worked with me. Experienced old police. And, you know, I used to do that. You know, I was a younger guy in terms of age. In many cases, senior in rank to many of them. But I respect their knowledge. And I respect the experience. And therefore, you should get them with people like Pablo Leewood, the same Lincoln Andrews, and them. They get them work with me so I can gain some knowledge. Not this big set of arrogance because you are senior and you're pumping your chest like what they're doing now. No, I learned a lot from people like Pablo Yewood, even though Pablo was junior to me. Lincoln Andrews, junior to me. I learned from them because they had the experience. Lincoln number was 76 something. I can't remember the 76, 70 something was his number, Lincoln Andrews. So he's celebrating about it today. And then we have a recent body retired Assistant Superintendent Booker. He was in traffic for a number of years. When I was traffic chief, he was once at Sparnam as a sergeant, and then he got promoted to inspector. This is a story I can talk off the record about him promoted to inspector when I was the traffic chief. And then in terms of advanced body greetings, we get Frank Jackman. He used to be at the police finance. Frank is celebrating a birthday recently. I want to wish all those who are celebrating today, who celebrated recently, and who are celebrating in the near future, all the best for your birthday. I ain't gonna talk nothing about cricket today. Today is not a day. Today's a day, not a day to talk about cricket. Let me bring Mr. Conway. You had a long introduction. I had a long batin. CC, welcome, my brother.
Good morning. Happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. Praise the Lord. Birthday greetings in place and sympathy to the bereaved family, those persons who pass on. I want to shout out to a couple of people, you know. I went to retired Superintendent Connell's sister's funeral yesterday, and one of her students came to me. I think she's in her 60s or thereabouts. And she said, I'm one of your students, Mr. Conway, and I'm glad to reach you. So I want to shout out to her. Her name is Brenda. I think she's Brenda Moore. And then I got a call this morning from the United States of America, Corinne Holder. She's the wife of the late 7438 Holder. I think he left as an assistant soup, migrated to the States, and he died. And she said she's listening to her. To her program. She doesn't miss the program. So let me shout out to her also. And also 3 teachers: Esther Young, her son Michael Young, and the relative Claudine. The teachers in the Bahamas, they came, spent some time in Guyana, and right now they're on their way back to the Bahamas. I want to wish them well, and I hope they come back very soon. And also, Michael Young, he is high in his praise for the immigration department because he had to get a new passport. And within a day he got it, although he had to pay the extra, not a bribe, because if you want a passport on the same day, you pay a extra money and you get it on the same day. And he said the immigration people are very, very courteous. The way they deal with him, he was very, very impressed, and he wanted me to express his best wishes to the immigration people and hope that they continue to give the quality of service they're being given. And there's one department in the Ghana Police Force that really doing some great work. I had some experience dealing with them.
See, like Mr. Conway is frozen, so I don't know what is the issue that he might look like he has some technical issue. Yes. Okay, so
Yeah, yeah, I'm
you were frozen a little while ago, so continue.
no, I just want to repeat that from Michael Young, a teacher from the Bahamas who came with his mother and relative, and he had to renew, he had to get a new passport, and he got it within a day.
Mr. Conway experiencing some difficulties there, as we can see. And let me say this. Let me take up from where he is singing. The Police Immigration Department. People, in case you don't know, the Immigration Department is a branch of the Guyana Police Force. The Chief Immigration Officer is the Commissioner of Police, and there's a Deputy Chief Immigration Officer who is the operational man at the office there, right? Telford, I think, is the person there now, Senior Superintendent. That is one of the few success stories in the police force and in Guyana, right? Even though, because, and let me understand this thing clearly, that unit was reorganized and streamlined during the coalition. President Granger and the administration brought in the Ministry of Citizenship, and they put retired Commissioner of Police Winston Felix to be in charge of that ministry, dealing with citizenship, including immigrations and passport and all that type of thing. And that place was streamlined to the point where you went there, you make an application for a passport, within a week, routinely, you get it, right? No big set of lines and all of that. No big set of queue line up, people can come in. And this nonsense where they're talking about, somebody mentioned it, again, about decentralization of passport. It was decentralized. They could have gone and you get your passport at several places around the country. So they come like Rip Van Winkle to tell you crap they're telling you. And they brought in this expedited process for passport. Expedited process. And meaning that if you apply a day and you had the wherewithal to pay, I think it was an extra $20,000 for the passport process to be expedited, you got it the same day. It was so streamlined. I remember a friend calling me, he wanted a passport urgently and wanted my intervention. I said, well, why? He said, well, he wanted to get the thing quickly. I said, well, just go there. I know he's a businessman. He had the necessary resources. I said, tell them that you want an expedited passport and you're going to get it. The man called me back later in the afternoon. The man was full in praise. He said, man, I didn't know that. I said, yes, the thing is streamlined. And then last year, or this year, big problem again, hundreds of people lining up. This administration broke up the thing. So I'm happy to hear that maybe they were able to get it streamlined again. I'm happy to hear they were able to get it streamlined again, because I say that the Immigration and Passport Office, or that department in the police force, is one of the few success stories in the police force and in the Guyana, in the country. One of the very few. I don't know, you can put your, you can name any that competes with that in terms of efficiency. They are very, very efficient, very, very courteous. Some people say, well, they're young. Yeah, but apparently they're well trained. The issue with that, and I have always had this problem, many of them are direct intake into the Immigration and Passport Office. In other words, they are policemen and women, but they haven't gone through the basic training in policing. And therefore, when they run afoul for disciplinary matter, whatever, is an issue. Where are you going to put them? Because they don't, many of them did not go through the regular training. So some of them will leave the job. Then maybe after then put them on the recruit course for them to learn something about policing. That is the issue I had pointed out many, many years ago. So yes, I'm happy that that has been announced. Now let me tell you all this. This place is not a real place. They go off and oh, I know. I just give you information. This morning, I see the thing circulating on social media, so let me take a thing. A message to ranks in the police force. I don't know where it emanated from. Got to be at admin level. It says, re-ranks to be warned. That is the subject line. Re-ranks to be warned. Please warn the following ranks who have been in their respective rank for the time frames listed below to report to the officers' mess annex on Wednesday, the 30th of July, 2025, at the times indicated. Here laughing. Constables who have held the rank for 6 to 9 years report at 8:30 hours. Corporals and lance corporals who have held the rank for 9 to 15 years report at 9:30 hours. Sergeants and corporals who have held the ranks for over 20 years to report at 9:30 as well. Note, ranks currently involved in disciplinary matters are not required to attend. When I read this thing, I say another indication about how much disarray the force is in. They want them to report. Why they don't tell them why. So you ask the question whether if promotion, they're going to promote them. I ain't got it yet. So as we speak now, well, I know if it finished, but then some people speculating that, hey, the president got to talk to them. It's also other thing they're trying to get votes, you know. They can campaign in the training environment, telling them that if they want a better life, they must vote for people. The commissioner of police, that is what he's doing, he's alleged to be doing with the recruits. That is what he's alleged to be doing at the recruiting campaigning, right? He can't do the commissioner work. Can't do the commissioner work that the pitchfork him into, but he did campaigning. So they send this message, and I say, boy, I can't understand this. Because first of all, let me say this. If you want these ranks to be assembled, ranks, constable with 6 to 9 years service, corporals with 9 to 15 years service, and people, and there's a sergeant and corporals with 20 years service. You want to tell me that the police headquarters is not in possession of a record of those persons? You have to send this blanket message? What craziness is this? What nonsense? Again, is evidence of the disarray and the incompetence of these people. Admin Commander Budram, and maybe the guy I know who's a staff officer, they call it 2IC admin, they ought to have a record of all the ranks and when they get promoted and all these type of things, so they know when who get promoted, what time, who get how many years in a particular rank. And you ask, they're going to tell people, they what? Ranks currently involved in disciplinary matters are not required to attend. You don't have a record of all those ranks who have pending disciplinary matters? And send out a message that these people, you got to be specific. You ought to be able, a proper system ought to be able to say, these ranks, name, number, rank, are required to report at 8:30. Number, rank, name, and this, that, required to report at this time. You ought to know what kind of HR they're running. You ought to know. And you ought to know, too, whether or not those forces have pending disciplinary matters. And then you would have excluded them from the list. But I don't understand. It's more evident. You see, when they send out these things, again, it's incompetence, and they don't know what is going on. So I send out a message like that. And then they're going to start an investigation now to discover or to find out how it up on social media. And it's not directly to me. I saw it on social media. I said, let me take a screen grab. Let me take a screen grab. But let me tell you all this. The system that I left in the force since 2010, because I was there at operations, Leigh Cratch was there at admin. And in the last promotion that was done, big promotion in 2009, I had a big role to play in that. Big role. Right? All right. So the system is there that if you have to pass the qualifying examination for constable, to get promoted from constable to corporal. It used to be that way. Now all are gone through the window. AQE, right? Appropriate qualifying examination from corporal, from constable to corporal. There was no appropriate qualifying examination from corporal to sergeant. To move from sergeant to inspector, again, you have to pass the appropriate qualifying examination. And then to move from inspector to a gazetted officer, again, appropriate qualifying examination. And you have a record of all those forces who pass. Similarly, you have a record of all those who have pending disciplinary matters, so you know who they are. And in that arrangement, It was always, for the longest while, if a rank had 15 years service in any rank, 15 years service in any rank, the rank was the rank was qualified to be considered for promotion, considered. Because if you had pending disciplinary matters, then that would debar you, even if you get how many years service. Pending disciplinary matters was a bar to promotion. So they're now sending out these things, I don't know what. And that is the same thing when you see the president and them came after me because I told them that the two of our officers that I wanted promoted are pending disciplinary matters and they could not be considered. And I can't tell anybody who tell me said that. They come after me viciously with trumped up criminal charges to get me. I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission. Conway was a member. Charge us trumped up, get me off. I still get 3-4 charges pending. They wanted to get me out. They came after me viciously. But tell them that will not daunt my spirit. Right? When you talk about emancipation and the 4th of August, I come from that clan with an indomitable spirit. Right? Kofi and Accra and all of those people. Damon and all these things. The warrior spirit in me. So I ain't giving up. Right? I ain't giving up. They're planning to kill you and all that. The good Lord will determine when the day for you to go. The good Lord will determine that. Somebody I continue to share the life. See, he's still frozen. He's still frozen. So I guess I gotta call him and ask him to I don't know if he got blackout or what, but I can't see him there. So yeah, they have that going around. Now the next thing I want to talk to y'all about, you know, I tell y'all, they are saying repeatedly that Azzuddin Mohammed and the Win Party is no threat to the PPP. That's what I tell you. They're praying now. That's what they're saying. The action proves something totally different. So we reported to you that the Demerara Bank decided to cancel the account of some of the candidates or some of the people who are supporting the Win Party. Demerara Bank did so, I think it was last week. We are hearing now that GBTI, Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry, has done the same thing. They canceled the account of people who are associated with the Win Party. It is alleged that they went so far. I think one of the employees is a either candidate or something. They dismiss him. He is dismissed, or he or she. I know the person is dismissed. And you want to tell me that there is a real society? Constitution guarantees. The Constitution guarantees association. You can join any political party you want, practice any religion you want, guarantees. And it is alleged that a man who associates himself with a particular party that the government frightened, that the government is afraid of. Some people tell me I mustn't go too much in the vernacular, but you got to talk. Government frightened them. They're shitting buckets according to Jack Deere. They're shitting black tanks, bucket too small to hold the shit. They are going after those people associated with them viciously. They are talking about the man being sanctioned, and if you associate with the sanctioned man, you can be sanctioned. And if the man, all sort of rubbish you're talking. Why have they not done the same to May Thomas, who was sanctioned the same time with the Mohammeds? You have a senior police officer, Emnat, sanctioned as a drug trafficker. He is sanctioned as a drug trafficker. He's still a member of the force. Still a member of the force. So what really they're telling people? What really are they telling people? You can't associate. That's what they'll get you associate. So you associate. And you know, let me tell you this. Let me tell you all this. Look, tomorrow, when Tantima lift up her clothes and drop her drawers, they're going to tell you, oh, the government has nothing to do with that. The bank is a private institution. So rubbish. Rubbish. Or as the people would say in the country, I don't know if you are familiar with it, Lara. She is a countryman, you know these terms and words and so on. I can't interpret Lara for y'all. Lara, that thing in there. Even if they did not overtly tell the people them to do that, the people would have done that because they know that is what they want to have done. And I think they call it plausible deniability. They're going to read up now. Them youth students, them one listening for hear what Slow saying, go and read up plausible deniability. So they're going to deny that they had anything to do with the decision by the Demerara Bank. They're going to deny that they had anything to do with the decision by the Guyana Bank of Trade and Industry. They will deny. plausible deniability. You say, well, there's the bank. We don't control the bank doing their own thing, or we don't have any control over that. That is what they will tell you. But we all, as reasonable people, know that is not so. The same thing with the police. They will tell you, oh, the police force made that decision, and police force make what decision? You believe the police force by itself making all them decisions to charge people for cybercrime and charge people for all them nonsense trumped up charges, especially against people who are perceived to be political opponents of the government? Instructions. Y'all remember when Tamika Clark, the attorney, was arrested by Krishnadath Ramana from Soku because she advised her client not to give a statement to the police. Y'all remember that? Nandalal said, and I get it, that he called the head of the Special Organized Crime Unit to tell her that he should send her away. He has absolutely no legal authority to do so. Then he come with this salawal and say, well, oh, he's the constitutional advisor. Yeah, you are the constitutional advisor, but now you talk about is a direct operational matter. A lawyer who is illegally and lawfully arrested to be sent on bail, you ain't got nothing to do with that. You should have nothing to do with that. But it's just a show that they skin themselves up. I say I like when they talk, I like when they write, because you can go through it and see what they are saying. We have Mr. Conway back. So I'm going to bring in Mr. Conway. I hope that you heard what I was saying, so he's going to add his portion. CC, welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you heard what I was saying so that you can get your say now.
Yeah, I heard some of what you were saying. And in terms of Nandalal, I can remember when we were arrested, taken to Budram police station. I called Happy, who was performing the duties of Happy, and I will never forget that Happy, in terms of bail, I said, if you want us, we can turn up anytime, whether court or you want us back to Budram. He said, call the CC, this thing is political. I can't deal with it. It is political. And one of my contacts in my presence, I have the recording, call a certain senior man from Carmichael Street. And he said that he's going to call Karimbash and tell Karimbash to put us on bail. And instruct Karimbash. And within 20 minutes, 2 men from Karimbash office came and put us on our own recognizance. Political interference all the time in the police force. It's there all the time, you know.
Yes, and let me move on to the next issue here. Because people are asking the question, we raise again. Kevin Larimo, the PPP activist from Linden, who was sentenced to 9 months for fraud, right? I think it's about a month now since he was arrested by police, just about a month. They were reluctant to arrest him. Commitment warrant by the magistrate, you know, committing him to the Lusignan prison. They did not arrest him initially. Then eventually, and the man was right in Linden. I got the feedback. It's not that he was hiding anyway. He was right there, but the police just did not go to arrest him, to execute the order of the court. Eventually, he was arrested 3 Mondays ago, I think it was. He was then being taken to the Lusignan prison as commanded by the warrant. When the ranks were called and told to abort the mission, come back, they took him back to Mackenzie, and he remained there. Then he claimed that he was unwell. They took him to the Mackenzie Hospital. I understand he was transferred to Georgetown. He remained in Georgetown. He was discharged from the hospital. And my information is, as recent as 2 days ago, he no longer in hospital. He was not in police custody, and he was not at the Lusignan prison. So the question is, where is Kevin Larimo, the convicted fraudster? And let me understand this process, you know. Let me understand. He is convicted. He has every right to appeal. He has every right. He can appeal the sentence for whatever reason, severity of punishment, whatever reason, because he was tried behind his back in absentia. It was an ex parte trial. He has every right to appeal. But then there's a process. From the time the warrant is issued, the role of the police is to comply with the warrant, take him to Lusignan prison, and then thereafter Lusignan prison got to deal with him. So if he is sick, Lusignan prison got to deal with him. They know to deal with those cases. If he appeal, the appeal and to be released, it has to be directed to the director of prisons. But the police, that is what you have. That is what it have. And here, let me say this. The police of Linden arrested him. They were taking him to Lusignan prison, and they were told to abort the mission. I am certain that the decision to abort the mission, even though it might have been passed to the ranks by the commander or some senior officer in the division, that was a decision taken elsewhere. That was a decision taken elsewhere, not at the command, divisional command. And I'm not representing the people in the command. I'm just saying how I know the system to work. Because the mere fact that they decided to obey the order of the court and to take him to the Lusignan prison, right? And then had to abort, that couldn't come from them. Someone, I had to intervene. And I am saying, it is my belief that politicians had to intervene. And then it might have come through the police chain. Don't carry them out to Lusignan prison. But then again, I say, it's a weakness. It demonstrates the weakness of the divisional commander. Because I am telling you plain, and this is not being disobedient or disrespectful. This is following the protocol, following the law. They would have got the techie from Lusignan prison because and there's no way I did tell in my ranks about the mission. They would have to take him to Lusignan prison, and then whatever negotiations they had to make had to be done with the Lusignan prison authorities, not the police. Well, you see, you get incompetent people, and the police lack knowledge and all of that, and at the end of the day, they are thrown under the bus. Because all the police had to do was to execute the commitment warrant. It's a commitment warrant. The police, what they call it, the corporate communication unit, is a commitment warrant, not a sentencing warrant. There's nothing like a sentencing warrant. It's a commitment warrant. We call it in the police CW. And all you have to do is to execute the commitment warrant. Whatever it says, take him to the Lusignan prison. Now, an interesting question came up during the comments. And this is what I like the students, See, we got to, I love my students because when I was going through the comments today, somebody said, well, when will this sentence commence? And I had said that, well, the sentence should have commenced from the time he's arrested. But thinking about it, and then somebody said, well, what happens if he remains at large for the entire duration of this 9 months? He run a night. You want to tell me the sentence done? And the people, good, valid question. And therefore, I would think that therefore the sentence will commence when he is handed over to the Lusignan prison. So the sentence has not commenced because, based on what I say, he was sentenced to 9 months at the Lusignan prison. And one would think that the sentence would then commence when he's handed over to the authorities at the Lusignan prison and they enter it into the records. So that was a very interesting interjection or intervention by one of the students. God, the student said, well, if you're saying that for the time he's arrested, or let's assume from the time the sentence is handed down, right? The sentence start. What happens if this man in hiding for the full 9 months? He would not have served the sentence. Very good point. And I want to compliment that student for making that. I didn't get to see it live on the last program, but when I ran back, I saw it. Very good interjection. CC, what are your views on this Larimo story and the sentencing? Go ahead, my brother.
Well, as you mentioned, the thing is that it should start from the time that he is in prison. And I can't see the keeping him there, and then if he's not in the hospital, he's not at the station, he's not at Lusignan, somebody got to say, wait there, or who released him from police custody, why he wasn't there. And another thing, Paula, we need to correct this, that this ASP Boko, I understand, is an ASP Boko that is presently serving in region number 8. So let me apologize to him that ASP Boko is a Boko who is presently serving in region number 8, not the one that retired.
Okay, we retire you early, Boko. I'm sure that you may, perhaps you're glad, forget the early retirement, but you gotta wait, man. You gotta wait, don't speed it up. So again, happy birthday to you. Yeah, looking back at this Larimo thing, there's a smart fly that get locked up in Cow Hole. Let me understand this thing clearly. This is bare countryman talk. Smart fly. That lock up in cow hole. Somebody will say batty hole or sort of thing. Because are they taking Larimo to the Louisiana prison and handed him over to the prison authorities? Right? His sentence would have started counting then. So if he got sick while he there, the sentence still counting. But now that he has not been handed over to the prison authorities, I suspect the thing on pause. So they're still waiting for him to be handed over for the sentence start. Smart fly does get locked up in cow batty hole. That is what's going on. That is what is going on. Now let me move on. Now there was a disturbing incident. We reported on it. Let me find the note that I have. The very disturbing incident where a young girl, remember the story last week, I think, report, stray bullet struck her in the neck, and then it was reported that she died. Right? The stray bullet struck her. Hear what the story, a short story. Hear what it says. I got some points to raise on this. It says, man charged with the murder of the 16-year-old girl. This is established Tuesday on the 26th, which was Saturday. Hear what it says. He named Travel Daniels. That's what it said. Travel Daniels, 18, appeared yesterday, that's on the 25th, at the Georgetown Magistrates Court charged with the murder of 16-year-old Rihanna De Pisa. The girl succumbed to a bullet allegedly fired by Daniels. The accused will return to court on August the 22nd. Police investigations revealed that on Monday, about 11:25 p.m., the victim and another teenager were sitting on a motorcycle on Mango Landing. Another motorcycle was parked next to them. It is alleged that the suspect, who is unemployed, drove up in a white Feeler wagon motor car registration number PYY 2896 and stopped. He then exited the car with a handgun in his hand, went up to the motorcyclist next to the victim and her friend, and the two of them had a misunderstanding. During the misunderstanding, the suspect allegedly discharged a round, which hit the Pisa in the neck. She fell to the ground, and the suspect immediately went into the car and drove away from the scene, the police said. The victim was picked up by a police rank and escorted to the Georgetown Public Hospital, where she underwent surgery. She succumbed on Wednesday. On Tuesday, at about 1 a.m., the suspect was arrested on Mandela Avenue in the same motor car. He was told of the allegation made against him, arrested and cautioned. A search was carried out on him, the motor car, and his home, but no firearm was found. He was escorted to the CID headquarters, where he was swabbed for gunpowder residue, and the motor car was lodged. Sad case, a teenager, 16-year-old. She went to some party, she out there, some altercation, the man shoot, she ended up dead. And again, we got to raise the thing. The easy access to firearms. The easy access to firearms, because they got run-ins. And here I'm talking about firearms in general. Whether it's license, they're going to pay the 1.5, I hear the thing gone up to 2 million now, and they get a firearm. Or people who are of criminal intent get firearm. And here they say, this is an 18-year-old, you know. The person was arrested and charged for this murder. 18 years old. And you hear what they say? He's unemployed. He drove up in a white Feeler wagon motor car and stopped. He drove up and stopped. He then exited the vehicle with a handgun in his hand. Well, I know where's the handgun going there. Right? But I say handgun in his hand. Right? And you know, again, because of my training and orientation, when these terms are used, I tend to be a little critical. Handgun, small arms, and also I think a big distinction. Big distinction. I tell people sometimes say small arms. What is a small arm? Small arm is not necessarily a handgun or a pistol or a revolver. Small arms is a wide category, include rifles, submachine guns, machine guns, mortars, bazooka. All of those things are classified as small arms. I get the manual, small arms of the world. Right? Rockets and all of those things are small arms. So sometimes when I use these phrases, you know, very loosely, I just come and teach and so on. what they say, handgun. Well, we talk about handgun, you talk about a pistol or a revolver, right? But they say the handgun is on. I know the handgun could go any place else. But the important thing is, 18-year-old, he drove up, he come out with a pistol, handgun, pistol or a revolver, and then he fired. And he went into the car and he drove away. So the question, therefore, is whose car it is. You want to tell me to say you're unemployed, or you want to tell me this unemployed 18-year-old is he car? Right? You want to tell me that this car is owned by this 18-year-old? Whose car it is? This Fielder wagon, registration number PYY 2896. Whose car it is? And he drove up and he fired. The girl ended up dead. Then they claim that when he went back in the car, he drove. And again, the thing is, I don't know what evidence they have linking him. You get the car. Yeah, he was in the car. And they found him in the same car shortly after. Right? They said they didn't find no firearm, which is critical, you know. No firearm was recovered. So they got to get, you can convict based on that, but they got to get good evidence, eyewitness evidence and all them everything, identification of this man and all of that. 11:30 the night, lighting in the area, how well they know. Conrad, look, let me tell you all something. These jokey police that you have now, and I shouldn't blame them, you know, because it's the training. Because in a case like that where you did not recover the murder weapon, the weapon used to commit the murder, you can get conviction, but it is extremely difficult. You have to get a lot of witnesses who would see the NOE, how long the NOE, what was the lighting in the place. All of those things will have to come out for them to the court to say, well, yes, this is indeed the man. Because you can get the firearm to link the firearm, get print or whatever to this murder, the ballistic checks and all of that. But it is sad, the easy access, an 18-year-old get access to a handgun, which he used to kill this person. 18-year-old drove up in a car. I got to emphasize that. Can't the police here. This 18-year-old drove up in a car, a Fielder wagon, that described the car. This is how they described the car that they claim Adriana Young left the Doubleday Hotel in. The only thing they give color. Did they? I think they give, white Fielder wagon. White Fielder wagon, registration number PYY 2896. They gave all the description. Right? All. Similar to how they gave the description for the car with Adriana Young. So I'm saying to them, right? Because at the end of the day, you want justice to be served. And I'm sure the relatives of this young lady, 16 years old, she didn't even start to enjoy life yet. Killed, just like that. Senselessly, Mr. Traffic Chief. Senseless. That is senseless. That is senseless. And let me make sure that a proper investigation is done. I say again, despite the fact that the firearm that was used wasn't recovered. Well, I shouldn't say despite. Because of that, you have to make sure you get good evidence and good investigation. People would have seen this incident. Guys, it's not easy, you know, to convict this man when you recover this firearm, to do the ballistic, to link the projectile, which I suspect would have been recovered, to the firearm that you find with it. It makes it very difficult. Yeah, they say he went in, Claude. He went in and he drove. Like they say he drove up. According to what they're saying here, they say they say it is alleged that the suspect who is unemployed drove up in a white Fielder wagon motor car. And then they say after the incident, right, the suspect allegedly discharged a wrong, which is the prisoner. She fell to the ground, and the suspect immediately went into the car and drove away. So the way out is constructed, suggesting that he drove and come, and he did. Who else been in the car? Anybody else? A lot of work to be done. Like a sad case. 16-year-old, 18-year-old shoot. 18-year-old get access to drive up in the car. 18-year-old get access to a firearm. I wonder if you get a driver's license. You see, they don't investigate all these things because he might very well investigate further to discover that he had a driver's license. And then when you check to see how he got the license, you're going to hear that maybe he paid. You might hear that he's a thief man. Also, I think he can investigate properly. But they're just leaving this thing, this superficial type of thing they do. Very, very superficial. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, man. CC, your take on this matter.
Well, proper investigations got to be done. You know, and then you're saying too many guns in the town. people getting guns too easily. I always talk about Shift Chandra Paul Drive, Young Street, Carmichael Street, a, a house in Rab Street, com, a building northwest of Budram Police Station. And this is a critical one. I think this is a big thing. A doctor in in Lamar Street. I repeat, a doctor in Lamar Street. And I'm talking about a medical doctor. They check and see, as you mentioned, his driver's license. Sometimes you check, you do the investigation and you open a whole can of worms. You might see, you might uncover all those corrupt practices that going on in the place, both with the police and both at GRA. You know, it's both sides getting, you know, the police and GRA. You know, so the need for proper investigations, look for eyewitnesses, collect statements and things, whether the place is dark, whether you have proper lighting and all that kind of thing. It calls for proper investigation to be done. And we're saying, an 18-year-old get gun. Oh, you get a gun? Was that? They say, what is a licensed gun? Well, did they know? Was it a licensed gun or was it unlicensed? Well, I'm going to find it. And then, you might be in the absence of ballistics, yes, you might have some difficulty, but you could find other evidence, whether direct or circumstantial evidence to prove the case. But it's going to be difficult, but it could be proven.
Yeah, it could be proven. It costs some work. It costs work, not a slipshot thing that you always do. It costs work. And one of the students reminding me here that I had lent him the book Small Arms of the World. I still have it. He said that, Mr. Stowe, you lent me that book when I was doing my grade 1 armorous course. He was doing some armorous course, and I lent him the book. I still have it. I think I have 2 such books, Small Arms of the World, Infantry Weapons of the Year. One is Small Arms of the World, and one is Infantry Weapons of the World. I have them. I plan to make a presentation at some stage, donation to one of the libraries, one of the police libraries of it. Because I get it in the computer, you know. I get it here, but to share the knowledge, I will do so at some appropriate time. Not now, though. Not with them jagabats around. When things change, I can present it to them, right? I will present it to them. Now, you got a matter here that I want to deal with. You know, retired Deputy Commissioner Paul Williams came out and he now joined the APNU. He was on stage at Melanie and gave what I did not hear the address, but people say gave a very rousing address. And as to be expected, thereafter, they came in out. They sent out them to attack Paul Williams. And I am not here representing Paul Williams. Paul Williams is far more academically qualified than I am. He got LLB, study law. I guess very soon he's going to be admitted to the bar in Guyana to practice his trade and so on. And I say this, he can represent himself. But when you see all of these lies that are being peddled, I have a responsibility and a duty and a responsibility to correct them. So on the 23rd of July, there's a letter in Stabrook News with the name some Nazim Bash. Nazim Bash wrote a letter in Stabrook News attacking Paul Williams, retired Deputy Commissioner. Hear what it says. Retired Deputy Commissioner, GPF, Paul Williams. Paul Williams' claim that the PPPC administration blocked him from becoming police commissioner falls apart under scrutiny. Well, we can scrutinize too, you know. Hear what it goes on to say. While Aubrey Norton cheered him on at the APNU meeting at Melanie Namashana on Sunday, Williams, whose tenure in the Guyana Police Force was marked by inaction, accused the PPPC administration of sending him on administrative leave in 2020 to prevent him from being appointed police commissioner. The truth is less glamorous than Williams's political spin. He was not bypassed for promotion, nor could he have been in the runnings for commissioner because Nigel Appy was already acting in that capacity and continued to do so despite this change in government. In reality, Williams had 192 days of accumulated annualized vacation leave to take Officially described as the utilization of accumulated entitlement, the force instructed him to take the days or lose them. It was a standard policy. And now Williams falsely accuses President Irfan Ali of sidelining him because he would not be a candidate of wickedness and corruption. In reality, it was former President David Granger who would have passed over Williams, not once but twice, for the role of commissioner, despite his now touted qualifications, integrity, and competence. In August 2018, Granger appointed Leslie James as police commissioner. Williams was among several senior officers interviewed by Granger for the commissioner role, but he was an unsuccessful candidate. After James proceeded on leave in 2020, Nigel Appy was assigned as commissioner of police by Granger, although not according to the constitutionally mandated process. Williams could not have been appointed commissioner while Appy was acting in that role. Appointments rely on a presidential decision and the completion of lawful process, including consultation as required by the Constitution. Those who know Williams well said that he touts his horn as an achiever, but nothing distinguishes his tenure with the force, although he was the Ghana Police Force's training officer, crime chief, and deputy commissioner. Norton elevated Williams on APNU platform to play the part of a victim who has been discriminated against by the PPPC administration. Williams claimed the government has destroyed every fabric of the police force and camaraderie. The evidence proved otherwise. Williams' narrative of victimhood is less about truth and more about realizing his long-held political ambitions, using grievance as a ladder where merit as a police officer has failed him. Now let me go into this rubbish that, what name? Nizam Bash write. I like when they write. I tell you all over, I like when they write. He said that Williams' claim falls apart under scrutiny. Which part? Let me go through it and then I'm going to bring in CC. It says here, his tenure was marked by inaction, right? He accused the PPP administration of sending him on administrative leave in 2020 to prevent him. That is a fact. He was sent on 192 days administrative leave by the PPP administration. That is a fact. Not known by no police administration. The letter came from the Ministry of Home Affairs, Nazim Bash. I have a copy of the letter that they sent to him and to him to proceed and leave immediately. Right? So no police administration sending him leave. It's the government of Guyana, the PPP government sent Williams on leave. Let me go on further. They say he was not bypassed or promotion, nor could he have been in running for commissioner because Nigel Appy was already acting in that capacity and continued to do so when the government changed. But let me tell you all that. Because I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission at the time, Conway was a member, right? The government changed on the 2nd of August, 2020, right? That was a Sunday. Nigel Appy was told to carry out the functions of the Commissioner of Police 2 days before. 2 days before the government changed. The Friday, James proceeded on pre-retirement leave. Nigel Appy was told to carry out the functions of the Commissioner of Police. Carry out the functions of the Commissioner of Police. Right? And nonetheless, they come with the same nonsense. And I had to write. The letters are there on Starboard News that I wrote. Right? Debunking the nonsense that they're peddling. So, James went on leave on the 31st day of July. As a matter of fact, tomorrow is the anniversary. Tomorrow is the anniversary. 31st day of July. And Appy was told to carry the function from that same day. So when the government changed 2 days after, and Irfan Ali was sworn in on the 2nd of August, 2020, Nigel Appy did not even have his first official day, first working day, the Monday, right? So he continued. Continued what? What are they saying? And I have written extensively on that, and I'm going to bring it up again. Now, let me go again. Yes, Commissioner Cole, facts are stubborn thing. Let's say he went on 92 days accumulated in sideline. Then I go on to say, I agree, because Williams would not have been a candidate of corruption and wickedness. So he was, in fact, sidelined And let me tell you all more, because it's nonsense what this man talking here. He said in reality, it was former President David Granger who would have passed over Williams not once but twice for the role of commissioner, despite his no lie. In 2018, when we became members of the Police Service Commission, they had outstanding vacancies for commissioner, and they had outstanding vacancies for deputy commissioner. As required by the Constitution, I had consultation with the other members of the commission, including Mr. Conway, and then we had consultation with the president, and we made the recommendations, right? Before that process, all of the candidates, including Ikin, including Williams and Appy, they were all interviewed by the Police Service Commission. I have the records of the interviews. They were all interviewed by the Police Service Commission that I chaired. They were asked before that interview to submit their resume, which they did. And based on the interview and based on the resume, recommendations were made to the president as to who should be promoted. The president promoted, as they said, James as commissioner, and he promoted the deputy commissioners, Williams, Alves, Appy, Graham, female Graham. They were promoted to deputy commissioner. So what is man talking about, but unsuccessful candidate and all that? Where he get this thing from? Where did he get that from? The facts are stubborn things. The records are there. And then, as I said, they say, after James proceeded on leave in 2020, Nigel Appy was assigned Commissioner of Police by Granger, although not in accordance. Nigel Appy was never, ever assigned Commissioner of Police by Granger or anyone else. Nigel Appy was asked to carry out the function, which is a normal process, because in order to be appointed Commissioner of Police, Article 211, I think it is, spells out the process, right? It requires consultation at the Police Service Commission level. The chairman has to consult with or the president has to consult with the chairman of the Police Service Commission, who would have already consulted with the members. In the absence of that process, the person could not be said to be appointed any commissioner or deputy commissioner. It is spelled out in the Constitution. It is spelled out. So they come, Nandalal is the man who did this thing. And I wrote a letter and I asked him to produce evidence. He never did. Over 2 years ago, I wrote a letter. I said, well, look, this is the evidence. I presented the evidence. And Nandalal couldn't come back and say anything. He thought, he named it something constitutional heresy or something like that by Granger. And I debunked all of that. Now he goes on here. And here, let me tell you something. When they write this stupidness. The government came into power on the 2nd of August, 2020. Shortly after they came, they sent Paul Williams on 192 days vacation leave, right? And Nigel Appy was senior to Paul Williams. So Nigel Appy was made to carry out the functions, which you can't argue over. He was a senior man and he carried out the function. They never made Nigel Appy acting. Never. He was never acting commissioner. He was never promoted. He never wore the badge rank of commissioner. He never got paid as commissioner, either acting or substantive. Check the records, Nigel Appy. They get the park up at Ministry of Housing or somewhere there now. Never, ever. But that is not the issue. The issue is when Nigel Appy proceeded on retirement leave, pre-retirement leave in 2022, I think it was. The most senior man then was Paul Williams, Deputy Commissioner Paul Williams. When Deputy Commissioner Nigel Appy proceeded on pre-retirement leave, the next senior man in the force was Deputy Commissioner Paul Williams, who they had sent to COVID unit or somewhere there. And they bypassed him and made Assistant Commissioner Ikin the acting commissioner. So what crap this Nizam Bash talking? What crap? The records are there, check it. When, as I've said, Nigel Appy carried out the function, he was never made acting, never got an instrument, never wore the rank. Immediately, Nigel Appy went on pre-retirement leave in 2022, I think it was, or 2023. I can't remember exactly now. Immediately, he went on leave. They made Ikin acting commissioner of police, assistant commissioner Ikin acting. Williams, who was there as the most senior man as a deputy commissioner, was bypassed. The records are there, man. I don't talk with water in my mouth. I don't talk with water in my mouth. So this man come and talk. And you talk about accomplishment. All right, let me deal with one before I bring in CC. But they say nothing distinguishes his tenure of the force, although he was the Ghana Police Force Training Officer, Crime Chief, and Deputy Commissioner. What distinguished Ikin, who was also the Force Training Officer? He was Commander A Division. A matter of fact, check the Commission of Inquiry into the plot to assassinate David Granger, President, and see the role of Ikin. What did Ikin, what accomplishment? Ikin check Linden when they killed those 3 men at Linden. He was the commander of the division and he was the senior officer on the ground. What nonsense you have come and talk. So what accomplishment? It is alleged that he was part of the team at Lindo Creek. What accomplishment are you talking about? Ikin was the man on the quarantine when they had the bank robbery, the wet money story. So what are you talking about? Ikin is the man who sat in the commissioner's office and took $8.5 million from Amir Ahmad. He said so in a statement. That is not an allegation. It is not alleged. He, in a statement, said that he did that. So that couldn't be classified as an allegation. Yeah, come, came it out. I get the facts. And facts are stubborn things. Facts are stubborn things. You comparing Paul Williams with Clifton Ikin, cheese to check. Williams is has always been far more qualified than Ikin. Ikin get an MBA, he says, and the MBA that he got is Mr. Brutus accomplice. Mr. Brutus accomplice, MBA. There's a statement from the lady of the police consumers that when she took the $60 million where they charged Brutus for, $60 million, she took it to the commissioner's office and handed it over to Brutus in the presence of the commissioner. So what nonsense you coming with? This Nizamba. Just send them out. But y'all come. I got the facts. I can go into details and facts, dates and time and places. As I told you all. Again, before I bring in Mr. Conway, Nigel Appy, let me start with James. Leslie James proceeded on pre-retirement leave sometime around the 30th or the 31st of July 2020. That's 2 days or 3 before the David Granger administration demitted office. When on the Sunday, the 2nd of August 2020, President Irfan Ali was sworn in, right? Appy was carrying out the functions. And he continued to carry the function for something like almost 2 years. They never made him acting, even though, as I said, Nandalal pointed out about constitutional heresy. I said, well, why did you not correct it? If you came into office on the 2nd of August 2020 and saw this lacuna, this constitutional heresy, why did the PPP government not correct it? They never did. They waited till Nigel Appy walked in time, and then when he was ready to go on vacate and pre-retirement leave, they sent him off. And immediately was sent off. They appointed Ikin as acting, and it was challenged because there was no consultation as required by the Constitution. There was no consultation, none. And the thing got to court, and the Chief Justice thing there. As a matter of fact, the Chief Justice ruled that the appointment of the Police Service Commission at the time was unconstitutional. They were only promoting them, but she used what the de facto doctrine to save the decisions made by them, where they had promoted a whole set of people that was 2021, I think it was. She used the doctrine. She said that the Police Service Commission was not properly appointed in the absence of the chairman of the Public Service Commission. But then she said, well, the third parties, being the ranks who were promoted, could not be affected. So, in other words, you use the doctrine to make that which was wrong right. Let me bring in CC, man. CC, come in and take a little batin, man. Come in and deal with this matter. I know you're familiar with a lot of the issues as a former member of the police service, as a member of the police service commission at that material time. Go ahead.
And as a man who know the ability of those Ikin and Paul Williams, and we can't allow Nazim Bashir, what's his name, to propagate propaganda and then get away with it. I can recall because I saw the letter where they sent to Happy and they come from Home Affairs, not from the office of the president, from Home Affairs saying saying James will proceed on leave, the quote the amount, and Happy will perform the duties of the commissioner. A one sentence letter. Happy get it. By then, what I did is that they parked Paul Williams to the COVID-19. And COVID-19 has some top ranking people. They had Deputy Commissioner Paul Williams, Assistant Commissioner Andrews Jr., Senior Superintendent, I'm going to be there just now, Azor,
Stanton, not Azor, Stanton.
And Superintendent Stanton. So they had a Deputy Commissioner, a Assistant Commissioner, a Senior Superintendent, a Superintendent, and others at COVID-19. And when they said COVID-19 finished, they sent them to the Civil Defense Commission. So when Happy came off, Paul Williams was a confirmed Deputy Commissioner, and he became Assistant Commissioner. And according to the rules, I have the rules here, you know, the Public Service Rule, Section 35(1) says, when, I'm going to read it, where an acting appointment falls to be made otherwise than as a prelude of to substantive appointment, the officer appointed shall, A, as a general rule, be the senior officer in the ministry or department eligible for such acting appointment, and B, assume and discharge the duties, responsibility of the office to which he is appointed to act. So according to this rule, A, the senior man will act. You could promote anybody you want to. You get supersession. But in terms of acting, it is the senior man. So when Happy went his way, Paul Williams was a more senior man, and he was a deputy commissioner. He was an assistant commissioner. I mean, you know what here the achievement what we can think. Here the legacy where you left in the Ghana Police Force. Flavor the dance, dog curry competition, cook-up competition, storing pot for the president, bowling ball for the president, score runs, bowling long up on full pitch and have volley and everything. Them is the legacy you have. Them is his achievement. But as you mentioned, Paul, when he goes off, the killing at the bridge is going to haunt him. Lindo Creek is going to haunt him. The wet money is going to haunt him. And I could go on and go on and go on. But I'm saying that Paul Williams was overlooked for the commissioner position by a junior one. A one who won't get the class, who can't even lace in Paul Williams' shoe. He can't talking about. So what Bart saying there is total fabrication. And the thing is, he stayed off, mentioning after Happy came off, you know. After Happy came off, he stopped there. He ain't go further. That they appointed Hicken to act as commissioner. So the thing is that Paul Williams was overlooked. He was bypassed, although he held the substantive rank of a deputy commissioner, and Hicken, who was a assistant commissioner, was appointed to act, contrary to the Civil Service Commission rule.
Yeah, I love my student. My student remind me too that one of his legacies is gonna be, let me see if I can find it here. One of his legacies will be this. Hold on, y'all hold with me, man. I love my students, man. I love my students. Hold with me, bear with me one moment. Bear with me, let me see if I can find it. I think I might have deleted it. I can bring it back to show y'all what can be another of Hicken's legacy, right? Another legacy. And all right, I have it here. What's another legacy?
Come, let's pick up this piece. Yeah.
That's not a legacy. Found his true calling, clean up seawall and so on. He look good there though. He look good. Right? That can be another legacy. So this man, what you name again? Some Bush? Nazim Bush. Well, let's write out the name, but whoever he or she is, or it is, the records are there. The records are there, right? You can compare Ikin qualification with Paul Williams. Cheese to check. Ikin can't even put together 2 proper paragraphs. And this is a fact. Ikin can't even face up to the media all them years. He attempted it once with the Bascom matter and get camera shy or mic shy since then. And you're calling for talk a lot of stupidness. Yeah, people tell me sip some water. But I can drink water, but I ain't minding my own business. I can drink water and I mind the business. Because when you come with this stupidness here, you got to make sure that you bring the facts. Now, let me move on. I saw yesterday, again, this is the 29th, a cop on $25,000 bail for assaulting his ex-partner. Very short thing. A 45-year assistant superintendent attached to the Ghana Police Force was on Monday released on $25,000 bail for assaulting his ex-partner. Kevin Denny of Lot 406 Front Road, West Rhineville, Housing Scheme, appeared at the Joshua Magistrate Court before the senior magistrate. He pleaded not guilty to the charge which alleged that on the 21st of December 2024 at 406 Front Road, West Rhineville, he assaulted his ex-partner as to cause her actual bodily harm. The prosecution did not attempt bail. Now, I read this article first yesterday on Stabrook News, and I was a little concerned because Stabrook News said that he was charged for some assault. And when I look at the date that the offense is alleged to have been committed, December the 21st, I said something wrong, because if it's a common assault, 6 months would have passed. And police, again, you have for matters under the 802, there's the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act, you have a 6 months statute of limitation. So from the date of the offense, you have 6 months within which to file the charge. Other than that, you can't file the charge any longer. They're gone down the drain. Now, if it is also catered for under the Criminal Offences Act, we said it's an hybrid offense, meaning it is either indictable or summary, you can charge under the Criminal Offences Act and ask for a summary disposal under the Administration of Justice Act. I know there's a lot of information for y'all to assimilate, but I just running it through thing. In order for you to institute a charge under the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act, the offense must have been committed within 6 months. The charge has to be filed within 6 months of the date of the commission of the offense. So when I saw in this release, the first release in Stabrook News, that the offense was allegedly committed on the 21st of December, I had some concerns. But then when I read Kaichor News said that he's charged for assault causing actual bodily harm. Assault, we say assault, CABH, actual bodily harm, which is a crime. Right? So I suspect in this matter, based on what it is said, they would have charged him under the indictably, and then AJA would have applied, and therefore that's the only way he can plead to this charge and all that. They had to apply the Administrative Justice Act, and he would have then been made to plead, because if a charge is indictable and the magistrate reads the charge to you, the magistrate will go on to say that this charge is indictable and you are not required to plead. Right? Now, if AJA is applied and the magistrate allows the Administrative Justice Act, the magistrate will then reread the charge and then ask you to plead to the charge. So understand, teaching. That is what we know. We're teaching what we know. Again, indictable charge, you go before the court, it's an indictable charge, the magistrate will read the charge to you and say the charge is indictable, you are not required to plead. Now, if the prosecution then makes an application for the Administration of Justice Act to be applied, this act allows for indictable charges to be heard summarily by the magistrate, right? Once the magistrate agrees to that, Then the magistrate will then reread the charge and ask you to plea. So, you know, again, a lot of things came out of this. Because this man appeared in court, this is a police officer, gazetted officer, assistant superintendent of police. Under normal circumstances, right? Once you are charged criminally, you have to be interdicted from duty and placed on half pay or whatever it is. Once you're charged criminally, he is charged criminally, assault causing actual bodily harm. Now, we know that the life of the commission ended in May. The life of the commission, even though the life of the commission ended, we saw a release from the police that the chairman, and there is no chairman of the police service commission, got the life done, went to somewhere in Latam, and the man, he and the secretary, the line secretary, talking, the man representing himself as a chairman. This is supposed to be a bishop. When there is no police service commission, none. The man represented himself as the chairman of the police service commission and talking to ranks about some subject. So I want to see if they're going to interdict Danny. I want to see if they're going to interdict Danny, the service commission, that the life ended 2 months now. Let me see if they're going to interdict Danny. Let me see if they're going to perform this constitutional heresy and interdict Danny. There's no police service commission, none at this time, none. There's no police service commission. So let me see what's going to happen. Well, that's all part of the corruption and incompetence. All part of the incompetence. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to comment on that, and then we're going to move on to another matter. CC, your take on that.
Yeah, just to confirm what you said, you know, that within 6 months, you have to charge persons for summary offenses. Well, I was running through the Criminal Law Offences Act, Chapter 821, and Section 43 talks about common assault. And say, everyone who assaults any person shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and shall be liable to imprisonment for 1 year. But according to what you said, you read on the Kaicho News, you get charged for assault causing actual body harm. So this thing is Section 43 saying anyone who assaults any person shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and shall be liable to imprisonment for 1 year. So if you're going to charge indictably, as you mentioned, and you asked for you administer the summary jurisdiction offences act where you did summarily, they can charge under the Criminal Law Offences Act, Chapter 8:01, Section 43. And as you mentioned also, there's no police service commission. And they tell you this government, they're not thinking strategically. They knew 3 years ago that the term of the Police Service Commission will expire in May, and yet they put no system in place to make sure that they have a service commission in place. And here it is, a man get charged before the court, should be interdicted. This quarter can't interdict him. It got to be the Police Service Commission. And even the one at West Demerara, who say he saw that he get a phone and he saw that the girl Adriano, go in a vehicle, and they say they backdate something that he was placed on administrative leave. How long will it be on administrative leave? The only body for taking off the administrative leave now is the Police Service Commission. So this government isn't strategic. They're not planning. And how could you run a police force without a Police Service Commission? It deals with appointment, it deals with disciplinary procedure, and it deals with removal from office. That's the three pillars under which it stands, and there's no service commission, none whatsoever. So the ranks who might be entitled to promotion couldn't get promotion. I think they were looking forward in this month of July to get promotion. No promotion, and you know, so they gotta get their act together, and it's high time they get a police service commission. Go through the normal thing and get a police service commission.
Yeah, but you know, it's not the first time this government, this PPP people, you can remember back in 2000, around 2001, 2000, around that, a long period they went without any police officer. A long period. There went no police office commission. So therefore, people can't get the promotion. No discipline. The whole process of discipline broke down and all of that. That is what they like. Indiscipline, corruption, incompetence. That is what they like. They know that. And here what the article says, again, this is what Kaicho News is saying about the charge. They say he was Ranvel, they're alleging that on the 24th of December, he assaulted Christine Baird as to cause her actual body harm. So they're saying assault CABH, right? They're saying assault CABH, which, folks, is a crime. Let me move on. Time catching up with us. I want to deal with this other matter here, and then we're gonna think. Yesterday, there was a statement, and this is News Source Garden mostly. Action being taken against corrupt police officers, says Deputy Commissioner. This is Budram. They have this program they call Safeguarding Our Nation, and senior officers, Omar Kandwende, Chief of Staff, Ikin, Blanham, the man from the intelligence thing, Orwell, now Budram turn. He went there. And let me read what he said. I got to come back to this another day. While admitting that there are rogue elements in the Guyana Police Force, Deputy Commissioner of Police Ravindranath Budram has indicated that steps are being taken to rid the force of those bad elements. Appearing on the government-produced program Safeguarding Our Nation this morning, that is Tuesday, Deputy Commissioner Budram said allegations should be reported against corrupt police officers. He said action will be taken against them. While there are, quoting here, while there are some rogue elements within the force, the majority of our officers are good officers, and they are here to serve the public. For this reason, we take this issue very seriously. We have done training in integrity and monitoring at all levels. If there is an allegation of misconduct, our Office of Professional Responsibility would investigate. And after advising the sort, action will be taken. End of quote. The Guyana Police Force has been dogged by corruption over the years, from reports of bribe payment to fraud and even the disappearance of evidence during active investigations. While the force has repeatedly indicated a no-nonsense approach to tackling the problem, it often finds itself facing the same accusations as new reports surface. Deputy Commissioner Budram said the work is ongoing to build a professional force. Quote, there are some incidents recently at the East Bank where a policeman was arrested with narcotics. There was also one recently on the East Coast where a policeman was arrested with a firearm, illegal firearm. Those matters are presently before the court. At no time at all will the force tolerate misconduct and turn a blind eye to them. Additionally, our main focus and aim is to have zero tolerance on misconduct in offices. We are working to build a professional force. End of quote, Budram said. He said training is essential to building that professional force, and ranks from across the force are currently being exposed to more training at the local and international levels. He also stated that the force is working to improve its methods of policing, especially in the interior regions and those far-flung communities, as it seeks to build public trust. Now, there's a lot to be dissected there. He says here, right? He says steps are being taken to rid the force of bad elements. You got to start from the top. That will start at top. As I said before, you have a commissioner of police who admitted, and somebody said it's a confession, that he took $8.5 million from Amir Ahmad to finance the wedding of Brutus. That is misconduct in public office at the highest level. And if you remember when that statement was made, let me see if I can find this tape. When he made that statement, he made the statement. Hold on, one moment, man. Let me find it here to play it. I want to play these things to y'all, man. I don't want to repeat and misquote anyone, right? I want to play the statement. He said that hold on. I'm going to find it and play it. Because this is a commissioner of police. who admitted, I don't think he was commissioner then, he was acting at the time, in writing, Kagaj, that he took $8.5 million from businessman Amir Ahmad. He talked about this stakeholder thing and all them type of thing to finance the wedding of Brutus. And he is not charged with misconduct in public office. So if you're talking about misconduct, Mr. Budram, you got to start at the very top. The commissioner misconducted himself in office by accepting, we don't know if he demanded, but he accepted $8.5 million from Amir Ahmad. Incidentally, it would appear that has bought Amir Ahmad immunity from all prosecutions because he's doing the guards and nothing happened to him, including a report at the Budram police station that he assaulted his wife. And he admitted in an interview later on, he said that he broke some vase and part of the thing flew and it tore. There's assault. The lady had a different story to tell. And nothing had happened to him. Nothing had happened. He, in the area that he lived, threatened and assaulted people, allegedly. Went to the police station, made a report, and the victim is arrested and kept in custody for a long period of time. The victim of Amir Ahmad's assault alleged that once the thing took place, he was arrested and kept in custody. So what were you all talking about? What are you talking about? That's we say while there are some rogue elements within the force, the majority of our officers are good officers and they are here to serve the public. For this reason, we take the issue very seriously. We have done training. We have an Office of Professional Responsibility and all that. The Office of Professional Responsibility of the Ghana Police Force, OPR, everything you hear, Office of Professional Responsibility. And for Budram to say that the majority of the people in the force are good, I know they have good men in the force, but I don't know about this majority that he's talking about. I don't know about the majority. I know, yes, I've already said repeatedly that they are good officers in the police force. Let's say officers, good members of the police force. But I don't know this majority that Budram talking about, if they did a count to determine numbers. Because you talk about majority, you have to tie it down to numbers, right? But then they say Office of Professional Responsibility will investigate misconduct. Office of Professional Responsibility, we heard about that so often. The last killing at Linden, not the last, the one where the unfortunate, Office of Professional Responsibility is supposed to be investigating that. We didn't hear nothing. The killing of the two men at Maikoni, Office of Professional Responsibility, we didn't hear nothing. The death in the lockups, West Demerara lockup, Linden lockup, Bobby's lockup, Office of Professional Responsibility investigating, you didn't hear nothing. And there are so many other incidents. They tell you Office of I don't hear anything further. And let me say this before I begin, Mr. Conway. And we're going to come back to this issue because time catching up with us. I did the research survey when I was at the Police Service Commission. And I discovered to my chagrin that many of these matters that are being investigated by Office of Professional Responsibility, the file, when they finish the investigation, the files are sent to the DPP for legal advice, most of those files. Many cases, the DPP advise criminal charges in some and departmental charges in others. And let me tell you this, when it comes to departmental charges, I discovered nothing happens. Nothing is being done, even though OPR investigate and legal advice from the DPP that departmental charges must be brought against the officer who is alleged to have committed an offense. They don't know nothing. The Office of Professional believe that their role is a matter is given to them, they investigate, they send to DPP advise criminal action or departmental action, they send it to the respective commander and they're done. So there's no follow-up to see whether the recommended action was taken. Done. And I challenge them to contradict that because I did the survey. And one of the problems you have in terms of the departmental action recommended, the officers, including the squad and them, don't know how to treat with disciplinary matters. They don't know 1701, the Police Discipline Act 1701. They don't know how to deal with disciplinary matters. And therefore, they take the easiest way out, just leave it like that. So how are you going to have a professional organization when ranks who commit themselves are not being brought to account. You cannot, because the ranks will continue to, there's no consequences for the action. And we've seen that all the time. And I'm talking about Iguane before bringing CC to talk about. He said there are some incidents recently on the East Bank where a policeman was arrested for narcotics. There was also one recently at East Coast where a policeman was arrested in illegal firearm. Those matters are presently before the court. At no time will the force tolerate misconduct and turn a blind eye to them. Additionally, our main focus aim is to have zero tolerance on misconduct in office. Zero tolerance on misconduct in office start by sending a code, not you for sending home. You can't send you home. You cannot have zero tolerance on misconduct in office when the commissioner admitted that he misconducted himself in office by accepting $8.5 million. Cannot. And he talking about that, singling out them couple matters. You have a policeman who was arrested with an illegal firearm a couple of weeks ago in Rhineville area. What happened to the matter? What happened to the matter? You got the cocaine from police headquarters that turned to flour. Cocaine at police headquarters turned to flour. You have a senior police officer, M. Shah, sanctioned by the U.S. government for drug trafficking, demanded enjoying administrative leave. Mr. Budram, what nonsense you talking? I mean, you have to go there and say something. But, well, the word integrity doesn't align to many of the senior police officers. But people, when this thing was posted, sometime yesterday, I looked at the comments, and you can go back and check it because this is news source. The thing is captioned, action being taken against police officers, say Deputy Commissioner Budram, posted on the 29th yesterday. Buddy, I look at the comments, oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. When you look at the comments and people commenting based on their experience, when you look at the comments, so I don't know what they're telling us. And I say this, the Guyana police force, even though it needs reforming, cannot be reformed with some of the elements that they have in the police force. Cannot. And I say, with this government, the police force cannot be reformed. They like it so. They like to put their hand. And God forbid, they get an opportunity to think again. And that is why, come September 1, we must all law-abiding citizens, all decent citizens, should make sure we go and vote and get rid of this corrupt government. This incompetent, we have pointed out several areas of incompetence. And the corruption, oh God, everywhere you look, you're going to see the corruption. Everywhere you look, you're going to see the corruption. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his for remark on that and his closing.
The hands that damage the Guyana police force cannot repair it. The hands that damage it cannot repair it. And there are so many things we got to talk more about this issue. But just to say OPR, everything is OPR, 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 OPR. I remember Paul, we as commando, when any incident happen or accident or display matters, people misconduct themselves, is we in the division, we had the capacity to deal with issues. Nobody ain't coming from anywhere. If they come from anywhere, you chase them, they come from anywhere. We had the capacity to deal with issues. Only time we seek assistance is if there's any forensic investigation to be done. That's how I know it. Where OPR, 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 and then we're done with OPR, nothing coming out of it. In closing, and this one is a hot one, hot off the press, Paul. Just get some information. Remember, there was a message circulated that certain people, they put some various categories to turn up at the police officers' mess for discussion. Well, I understand the president from the White House went there and he addressed them and he advised them that they must go out in large number and vote. And then he passed some instructions. Listen to this. Person 6 to 8 years in the service, 6 to 8 years service, promoted will become Lance Corporal from the 4th of August. 7 to 9 years corporal. 9 to 10 years, sergeant. And if you're 10 years in the rank, you are an inspector, providing you have no disciplinary matter pending. I might get the figures wrong, but 6 to 8 years, lance corporal. 7 to 9, corporal. 9 to 10, sergeant. And 10, inspector. As long as you're in the job and you have no disciplinary matter pending, from the 4th of August, automatically you be promoted to those ranks. And it came from the White House, not from the Commissioner of Police, from the President of the White House. That is what is happening in the police force. And if that is not political interference in the Guyana police force, tell me what is it? What is political interference?
Let me understand this thing clearly. I think we might got to spend a little couple of minutes after. The president has absolutely no authority to promote anyone, including lance corporal, corporal, sergeant, and inspector. None whatsoever. The authority to promote people, lance corporal, corporal, and sergeant, rests with the commissioner of police, and the system is you have a promotion board. Standing Order 22 of the Guyana Police Force speaks to that. To promote from sergeant and to inspector and above, that is a police service commission. There is no police service commission. There is no police service commission. The life of the police service commission, the last police service commission, ended around the 30th of May, 2025. There is no police service commission. I have confirmed that nothing went through parliament because there's a constitutional process. The one, look, is vote the buying. Is vote, they're trying to buy, they're doing everything to buy vote. This is a government that tells you they're so confident for us, they're going to get a landslide. Then the landslide became, they cry, oh, we don't want to have a minority government. And then last night or sometime, they now they had a rally, something enlarged, oh, they're going to get two-third what? Lara, two-third what? They are desperate. They are desperate. And I said this to the ranks. Forget about all the fluff and all they're doing. All them people that come in, buy, sell you, give you contract. They're going to do a lot of things to get your vote. But remember, all the years pass. When you if you're served for 20 years, you're going to let a fool you know and say they're promoting you. And let me tell you this because I've confirmed this too. The talk of promotion. The people who are last promoted, up to now, they don't get paid for the new rank. Up to now, they have not been paid because it's income, they don't know what to do. No government order nothing issued, so the people ain't getting paid. Right? They're getting paid, and it's the same thing in to DC. They're desperate to buy vote, especially the giant services vote. Especially because they know people are dissatisfied, people are leaving work, people in the police force have seen the discrimination, they have seen the Indianization of the command structure of the force. So they come and they're trying to think. Imagine the president addressing ranks, constable, and them with years of service, and tell, oh, from August 1, that's some 2 days from now, you got what authority? What authority? He went there himself. He couldn't pass it on to Ikin because he wanted to convey the impression that is he get them promoted. Oh, so vote for me. It's campaigning the police force, campaigning. And you tell me they get observers and all of these places. These things are not brought to the attention of the observers. They're not brought to the attention of the observers who were there. President, the statement that the president made, that should have been recorded and sent to them. Point out the Constitution, Article 212, I think it is, which states who should be promote people from inspector. And the president going there to tell people they're going to be promoted to inspector is another violation of the Constitution. Another clear violation of the Constitution. But that's what you have. I hope that the politicians, we get a lot of them sleeping, will take up these issues. I said the same thing about the man from GBTI who was dismissed. Take these things to court. Because you turn up and work in the morning, they tell you just so you get dismissed. No warning, no cause or anything like that. Just so? Are you accepting that? President turns up. I told them this morning when I saw the thing. They said, let me read what the message said, man. Let me read. Again, I said I don't like to misquote them. Right? I don't like to misquote them. The message said, Oh, bear with me one moment, please. One moment. Let me get it. The message circulated in the police force this morning said, ranks to be warned. Please warn the following ranks who have been in the respective ranks for the time frame listed below to report to the officers' mess annex on Wednesday, the 30th of July, 2025, at the times indicated. Constables who held the rank for 6 to 9 years report at 8:30 hours. Corporals and lance corporals who have held the rank for 9 to 15 years report at 9:30 hours. Sergeants and corporals who have held the rank for over 20 years report at 9:30. Note, rank currently involved in disciplinary matters are not required to attend. Again, I say incompetence. So if a rank has been there all this time, what happened to the recent promotion they make? It can them sat down supposedly the promotion board where they didn't see these people. What happened to the administrative, the establishment? Are there vacancies in these various positions for rank? But they don't care about that. They don't care about that. I am sure, as I speak here now, the establishment as is required for sergeants is it boss. They get far more sergeants than the establishment requires. And therefore, you ask the question again, what is the position with the Auditor General? Because I know in the past, they will check up all of these things. Because if you're promoting more ranks than the establishment caters for, how are they getting paid? How are they getting paid? This government is a disaster to this country and the police force. I say so. Police force, disaster. They're breaking it up more. They are, because what's going to happen now? You're going to have a lot of competent ranks, qualified competent ranks, who perhaps does not meet the criteria set out. In other words, you're going to have people with 6 to 9 years service as constables who, well, let me say this. Given the current situation, a person, constable who is in that rank for 6 to 9 years, a lot of questions got to be asked. In many cases, it is discrimination based on ethnicity and all of that. But questions have to be asked. If a man is in the rank, Lance Corporal and Lance Corporal for 9 to 15 years, 9 to 15 years, you think the person is competent? Some of them might be. But a lot of times it's can be discrimination. Then you get the 1 year to sergeant and corporals held the rank for 20 years. If you held the rank as a sergeant or a corporal for 20 years and you're unpromoted, ask a kid why they were not promoted at the last promotion. All of these ranks. Ask them why they were not promoted. Check the record. Partly doesn't matter. So with the constables, it doesn't matter with qualifying examination. With the sergeant, it doesn't matter with appropriate qualifying examination. Just promote them, man. We want to vote, just promote them. And when they go and they do nonsense, then you recognize you are poisoning the system. That is the problem that you have. And they do more to break up the system because they want a broken system so they can pick up the phone, call somebody, give them instructions, and they carry out all those illegal instructions. Conrad, I mean, when they promote, you can't say, well, you can say no, because there was a man back in the day who I understand refused promotion. Well, nobody ain't gonna refuse because it's supposed to come with a little bit more pay, even though the last people who get promoted, I understand, they get a pay yet. All because they have not done the administrative things to make sure they get a pay. That is what you have going on. That is what. Broken up the police for political interference. But in President met, I don't know what the number, but President met with ranks this morning, police ranks this morning, and the president talking about promotion. The president, according to one of my colleague, and I know he's reliable, is saying, president is telling you that if you get them rank, automatic promotion from the 4th of August. Automatic. And you want to know why? Budram, you must check that why the force is in the disarray that it is in. Automatic promotion. So you got a lot of NFGs. NFG. The N is for no, the G is for good. You determine what the F is for. You have a lot of NFGs who are going to be promoted because the president says so. And outside of, we talk about pending disciplinary matters, a lot of people committing violations after violations after violations, but because the system, the disciplinary system is broken, they don't have a disciplinary conviction, so all of them will get a promotion. all of them will get promotion. NFGs will get the promotion, right? I would have said to them, if a rank, they had promotion a couple months back, why these ranks with this service and so on, why were they not promoted? That is a question that should be asked, not by the president. That is outside the remit of the president. But the desperate folks, come September 4th, you have the opportunity to correct all of this. You have the opportunity. Now I tell you all, Adriana Young, you have the opportunity on September 1st to vote and make sure all of this incompetence and all of these things go away, right? You have the opportunity to do so. Now what all them Corey favoring and all these things are coming. Why they didn't do it all the time? Why did the president not do that all the time? But they come now. Just over a month before election, they're trying to provide vote. Ikindeli training school, telling the recruits they must vote for PPP. That is what. A man who committed all them things in the force. Misconduct in public office, accepting $8.5 million in the office. And he sits there, and then they're telling people, he looking for survival. He looking for survival. But let me tell you this. Let me close out by saying this to Ikin and others, as I've said before. God is in charge. God is in charge. Man does appoint. God disappoints. So you all sit down there, you plan, you come out, and look, Rose, healthy, strong, at least so you appeared. In the twinkling of an eye, he gone. In the twinkling of an eye, he is no more. And I just sit down there. I'm watching y'all. Folks, we have had a long morning, and the students telling me that they got to get a therapy. And I think I can deprive y'all therapy this Wednesday morning. So I'll give you all the short version, and then we're going to move
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su. Oh, so my relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims
friend of yours? No, he dashed from yours. He's a friend of ours. She had asked you that. He's a good friend of yours? He's a friend of ours. Guilty. And in case you all forget, the allegation by the thing there with that interview is that the vice president, through the middleman Su Jurong, that's the allegation. $500,000 from these Chinese businessmen to get business in Guyana. Never investigated. No investigation. And that man sits there on Thursdays. You know who is criminal. You know who corrupt. And that is the most devastating, I would say, the most serious allegation, as far as I know, made against any politician in Guyana. Against Jagdeo. And they never investigated it. So it is still there. Everywhere he goes and you smell something, is a Su Jurong allegation. Stands on platforms during this period and talks about corruption. Call people corrupt. Because, there's an issue they don't raise really on the platform. But when they sit there, there's a right to know who corrupt. They know who corrupt, but they don't address that issue. Su Jurong alleged, people put it in, that Su is the middleman, 500,000 US, I can get you started out. And we have the longer version when they went into his living room. And he said, no, Su, when the man showed the thing, no, Su deals with that part of it. Su deals with that part. He clever, cunning. So he ain't collecting no money. Su dealing with that part. I am in government, and I deal with the thing from the government end. That is what he says, or that is what he said. Folks, we have had a long morning. I had so many other things to tell you, but time caught up with us. I saw this morning, Ropes and Such and Scuden suddenly discovered that the lockups, police station lockups, are in an atrocious condition. We can deal with that on Friday. Because we have a program. I think Friday is a public holiday in Guyana. Notwithstanding that, we are going to come at 4 o'clock Friday afternoon and bring you the credible, valuable information. We ain't leaving these things, you know. We got to bring it to you. They're hustling, they're desperate. They also buy vote in all corner. All corner. They said they're opening police station, they're doing all sort of thing because they recognize what is going on. Police demoralized. And they know the police can work towards getting rid of them. So the guard said they're promoting people this morning. They're promoting, announcing promotion take effect from the 4th of August. Right? Let me tell you all this in closing. All that is clear evidence of corruption. And I want to say to the political parties, all the contesting parties, things like these must be brought to the attention of the observers. Because the rigging is not only an election day, the rigging started already. You see the list, 840-something thousand people, population in Guyana, 700 and something thousand. So they're saying, I read something, only 18% of the Guyanese population is children below 18 years. Only 18% of the Guyanese population is below voting age. And I almost forget this morning, you know, CC, I saw something too. I think it's that Shirley Edwards, the longtime PVP stalwart, passed away either this morning or yesterday. I think I saw something there. I wanted to confirm it because I don't like announce that unless it is confirmed. But I saw that, I read that somewhere this morning, a statement attributed to Bharat Jagdeo, expressing condolences on the passing of Shirley Edwards. All of us got to go one day. Are you sit down there and are you scheming and planning? You got to go one day. So you're thieving as if you're going to never go. You got to go. Corrupt system. Folks, a long morning. As I said, we coming Friday. Friday is Emancipation Day. And I have a lot to talk about emancipation. We have a lot of stuff left back we're going to bring to your attention. So until then, I implore you to stay well, be safe. Guyana remains a dangerous place and getting more dangerous by the day, especially this silly season. More dangerous by the day, 16-year-old shot and killed. Firearm galore all over the place. Be extremely, extremely careful. So until we meet God's Spare Life Friday afternoon, stay well. Bye.